Coming up on Mountain News at 6, officials at one Eastern Kentucky legal aid organization say many who were impacted by the flood have not received the FEMA aid money they could have gotten. And the future of archery in schools is in question as the sport is being targeted by the 2022 Bipartisan Safer Communities Act.
And temperatures are below average this evening, but August is not over yet. Those details coming up as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
The flood last July left thousands of people without a home or with one that needed major repairs. And because of the level of disaster, FEMA applications were available, meaning Eastern Kentuckians were eligible to receive up to $37,900. However, many people say they did not receive that amount, and some say they did not get anything at all. Today, WYMT's Olivia Calfee spoke to a disaster response attorney about how FEMA appeals are still on the table for people still in the recovery process.
As rebuilding efforts continue, Apple Red attorney Whitney Bailey says many people do not know that FEMA appeals are still an option.
There's not a deadline window that you will be cut off from sending in additional appeals. And there is still plenty of time to appeal your FEMA decision, your SBA decision, if you were offered a loan.
Saying 1 year later, she is still meeting with new clients. And a common question people ask is if they are taking away from someone else.
You're not taking away from anyone if you decide to submit an appeal or anything else that you need to do to try to get your household back to a pre-disaster state.
For every situation, Bailey says there are legal aid attorneys willing to help find a solution.
If you were deemed ineligible by FEMA from the get-go, most of the time it's proving that you owned the property. So having whatever deed is recorded at the clerk's office, whether your name's on it or not, we can take a look at your situation, see if there's something that we can do as far as helping draft a new deed or, getting a hold of the PVA card.
Saying she understands the process is time-consuming and exhausting.
You aren't doing yourself any favors not applying, and that money's still there for you to get and help move forward through this recovery process.
And it's money you could be missing out on to help in the recovery process. In Hazard, Olivia Calfee, WYMT Mountain News.
Apple Red legal aid services are free to the public. Bailey says you will not be charged for meeting with her to get help on your appeals. The flood intake hotline number is 844-478-0099. A Central Kentucky community is feeling the loss of a teenager. 15-year-old Joseph Seagraves was a sophomore at East Jessamine High School. Carter County emergency officials say a 15-year-old from Jessamine County died in a fall off a cliff last weekend. Coach Mike Boland says Seagraves had a tremendous work ethic.
From the why did this happen to us to just pure sadness to thinking about what could you have done, even though this was just, something that we had no control over. Coach, he didn't get to play maybe as much as some of the other kids, but he came to practice with a great attitude every day, lined up and did what he would, what he was supposed to do.
Funeral arrangements for Joseph Seagraves are still pending. A homicide investigation is underway in Lexington after an early morning shooting. The incident happened on the north side of town off Georgetown Road near the Scott County line. Police say they found 42-year-old Willie Dixon dead from a gunshot wound inside a home. This marks the 14th homicide for the city of Lexington this year. One man who lives in the neighborhood says it's usually a pretty quiet area, so for it to happen there is concerning.
For me, for my family, for my children, but also again for all the neighbors in the neighborhood, and then all those involved. You're just really concerned of what happened, and just hope that this is nothing that's ongoing. You hope that it could be just unfortunate. You never want it to happen, but it's just one of those things that just happened just once.
Lexington police say the homicide is still under investigation. In Powell County, Stanton police are looking for a suspect that ran from law enforcement. They believe he is Lonnie Schooley, pictured here. They ask anyone who lives in the Holman Drive, Pamela Drive, and Riverview Drive area to keep an eye on your property. He was last seen going into the woods off the side of Riverview Drive toward Red River Ranch. They are also periodically using a drone to look for him.
Well, the weather is fantastic as we get into your Tuesday evening. Here's a look at First Alert Pinpoint Doppler, and notice we are dry, a clean sweep across the region. We are watching out, though, for potentially a few sprinkles near the Kentucky and Ohio borders. These could kind of squeak into our northern counties near I-64. Most of us, though, do stay dry and calm as we go into tonight. If you have any plans to maybe fire up the grill, the weather not too bad. Middle to upper 70s this evening, falling into the lower 70s as we go into tonight. And most of us wake up in the upper 50s and lower 60s by Wednesday morning. Here's what we're watching. That nice weather does continue into your Wednesday. We stay dry, also comfortable, but that is not going to last long as more heat is possible by this weekend, also into early next week. And high pressure also continues, so that means most of us are dry for several days in a row. Those details plus your full 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Thank you, Cameron. The Breathitt Elementary School doors are now open for students after a 5-year construction process was completed. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us why administrators feel the school will help them reset after recent disasters.
There is a new home for preschool through second graders in Breathitt County. Breathitt Elementary creates a new era for the school system.
And we've got a primary school, preschool through second grade here in the new facility.
Administrators say more attention to those grades, specifically with reading skills, can set a foundation for success.
It's a huge change when you get to third grade on, the type of things that's expected of you. And if you can't read by that time, and we've seen that in the past, that, kids, they fall behind. So we're really wanting to make sure that we give them a really good start.
There are additions that impact the community as well, like the auditorium.
We have a new auditorium that could be used for many different things, art, music, and so forth. We've also tried to pick up physical education courses again in the gym.
The school also meets new safety policies with a safe room.
We're close to all our EMTs now, and we're really close to the hospital. And then also this campus here provided we can provide more of a safe environment with their agreements with their school resource officers.
With a new building and format, the school year serves as a reset for administrators and teachers.
It's definitely a reset. It's a little challenging. We've got, you're bringing staffs and kids from 2 different schools together, to form this school. But it has been really, really good.
Administrators are ready to see a fruitful outcome from the transition. In Breathitt County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Breathitt County Schools, you might remember, recently sold Marie Roberts Elementary, which is now owned by Riverside Christian School. Another slight back-to-school delay for some students in Letcher County. Classes will now begin at West Whitesburg Elementary on Monday, August 21st. The elementary school was also set to have its open house today, but that was canceled as work continues inside the building to get that school ready. Whitesburg Middle School will start its new school year tomorrow. For the last several years, one Letcher County student has dedicated her time to archery, seeing a host of awards and a lot of personal growth. But now the sport she loves is taking some hits. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more from the Jenkins athlete who says the sport is her passion.
Kimber Collins keeps adding more hardware to her array of archery awards.
It's come to the point that I almost expected out of her.
The 8th grader has put in hours of work and thousands of shots to strengthen her bow and hit the mark.
Yeah, I would shoot 300 to 400 shots a day for however long that took.
Recently winning scholarships and a few awards in a world championship.
It's amazing. It's one of the best feelings to know you put in all that work and you got it out.
But now the sport that has helped her find her focus.
It's helped me with my grades a lot. You got to be a student athlete to do it. So it's helped me with my academics. It's helped me socially wise.
Is being targeted by the 2022 Bipartisan Safer Communities Act.
This bill was passed with a good intention. It was through a bipartisan effort to establish safer and healthier learning environments for our students, but I think that it is now being misconstrued.
With hunting and archery programs in schools seeing a loss of funding.
I've seen archery change who she is. It has helped her to grow and develop into a strong and confident young woman.
Leaving representatives, students, and educators quivering, saying the programs matter and losing them is taking away opportunity and education.
I think that because of NASP and other programs like that, students have a greater respect for deadly weapon safety.
And without that funding, schools like Jenkins Independent will have to find other ways to hit the mark.
I believe enough in the importance of those programs to make those opportunities available to our kids, even if it comes at a cost to us.
To help their students aim for their dreams. In Letcher County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Collins says she's not interested in the political side of things. She just wants to keep shooting her bow and watch other students have that same opportunity.
Well, this upper level ridge means lower rain chances and more heat for the weekend. Those details coming up after this break. Plus,
one Southeastern Kentucky High School's athletic complex is going to be renovated.